Welcome to Live, Let Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Myka and Steve.
Hello, hello, hello.
And welcome back to another exciting episode.
Of Live
Let
Thrive. What is up, Micah? Man.
I'm chilling, Stevie Stacks. It is a halfway beautiful day, but yeah, I'm chilling. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Every day's a beautiful day, man. We're above the dirt. That's all that matters. I am doing pretty good. Federico's been in town, so we've been setting up a couple units. And yeah, man, he's 100 miles an hour, that guy. So I have to keep up. And he's like 7 foot tall, so it takes long strides. I gotta track him down. We have a special guest today on this episode 158 of your favorite Airbnb, VRBO, Turo, Lyft, all that stuff, share economy podcast in the world. And we have a special guest, and his name is Kevin Knight. And I have a little bio on Kevin. He was nice enough to write me. Kevin began his career in the vacation rental industry in 2014, serving 11 years in the Marine Corps. Thank you for your service, Kevin. Kevin worked for Vaca Casa and Turnkey Vacation Rentals from 2014 to 2019 before launching a small consulting business working directly with homeowners. In July 2020, Kevin launched Patriot Vacation Rentals in Big Bear Lake, California, and continues consulting for a small group of clients. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Honored to be here.
I have one question out of the gate, because you mentioned Vacasa on there, right?
Yes,
and a buddy of mine was asking about South Padre Island, and he's never gone. He wanted to go check it out in April. So I said, check out Airbnb. There's some good ones. I'll send you some good ones. He goes, man, these are really nice, but man, those fees. I mean, there's so many fees on the Airbnb site. But I looked at one that was being run by Vacasa, and I went to the Vacasa page, and it was way cheaper, man. I don't know. Do they get away with not charging the guest all those fees, or what happens?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of it. I know they do charge some booking fees to the guest, but I do think that they're offering kind of reduced fees through direct bookings.
Okay. And
so I don't know if it's market specific or if it's across the whole company, but I know that they're always testing out, different ways to increase bookings.
Okay, because man, it was going to save him like a couple $100 booking through Vacasa as opposed to the Airbnb site. It was
Interesting.
Crazy. Yeah,
unplanned Vacasa plug right out the gate.
But he took it a step further and found the owner. So anyway, he cut them all out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, nice. Yeah. Hey. Yeah.
But anyways, one more thing on Vacasa. Is that a site that they pretty much rent your place from you, and then they furnish it and they rent it out, and so they leave you out of? I mean, you just get a cut, or what?
So as an owner, you're coming to them typically with a fully furnished vacation rental. Most of their homes have been operating as rentals previously, and then they'll take over for the other management company. But they aren't usually furnishing them. They're doing a revenue share commission split model with the owners.
Okay, so they're just managing it for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Cool.
And they do offer services for like interior design and some other additional services that I don't know too much about, but I know that they do offer a suite of services for the homeowners.
Because they're big in Padre. I see their signs everywhere. I see Vacasa everywhere in Padre.
Oh yeah, they're huge out there for sure.
Now Vacasa, do they mainly target like the vacation rental markets, or like are they in like Dallas, Houston, places like that?
I think that they really do a lot better in the vacation rental markets. I think operationally, as you know, it's more challenging in more urban markets, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where their strong suit is, but they are in a lot of larger markets. I mean, I think they're in a few hundred markets in the continental US alone. So they have, I think, 26,000 properties or something under management. Huge.
Wow.
A lot of acquisitions.
So what did you learn from Vaca Casa to implement into your own business? And could you go into what your business is and what you do out in Big Bear Lake?
Yeah, definitely. So I had early on in my vacation rental career, I had the opportunity to work with some of the larger companies that were just coming onto the scene, like Vacasa and then Turnkey Vacation Rentals also. And so I got to see those companies go through a lot of growth and working with homeowners directly. I got to see how that relationship worked. And, I was kind of in the middle of all the friction of this exponential growth into some of these markets. And I took a lot from that starting my own company. I think the biggest thing was relationship building and, really setting clear expectations with the customers, both the guest and the owner. As a management company, you have a lot of different customers that you're needing to please, all with different expectations, some that are contradicting, and you're kind of in the middle trying to play that role of pleasing everybody, but also at the same time maintaining integrity to the clients and following through with the expectations. So I think that was a big part of it. Just learning how it all kind of comes together. And then once I realized the relationship is kind of at the heart of it, that's when I was comfortable on my own and have been going ever since.
Wow. And what techniques did you like? Do you do mainly managing, arbitraging, owning? How do you run your business model?
So right now we're all management commission split. So we're kind of the traditional vacation rental management company only in Big Bear Lake currently. But as we grow and move into some other markets, we'll look at diversifying across some of the different management styles. So I'd like to pick up some arbitrage units, and then buying, of course, also, is in the works. So I think that's the key, is being diversified. So that's what I'm heading for.
Okay. Go ahead, Steve.
No, I think that's a great way to start managing other people's units and, get to know all the ins and outs of every side of it. And then, start getting some of your own. I think that's like the perfect way to start, instead of going and getting one and not being able to pay rent, if you arbitrage it back poorly, or if you buy one, you don't know what you're doing, you lose so much money. But you start off managing other people's and learn the ropes and then move into getting your own. That's a cool way to start.
Yeah. And for me, I took it, I started with a company that was really figuring it out and kind of leading the way with a lot of the management strategies. So I was piggybacking off of them to, learn the industry. And then I was able to take it a step further, into the next phases. So that's important. I think being an operator is key. The first homes I managed, I stocked them with toilet paper. I cleaned them. I photographed them. I wrote the copywriting for them. A lot of it changed over the years as the company grew, but, I think getting experience in all the different aspects of the management side, that's been, I think the key.
So has Vacasa been around for a while? How did they get their start?
I think they started in I want to say 2009, I believe is when they were founded. I think that's right. Yeah, 2009.
So that's close to what Airbnb started, right?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, Vacasa, yeah, right around the same time. So, yeah, they were unheard of. They started up in the Pacific Northwest. Eric, who founded Vacasa, Eric and Cliff Johnson, they were the founder and co-founder. They first saw the revenue management gap. They saw that management companies were listing one price for the, all the weekdays for the entire year and then one weekend rate. And so Eric had a background kind of in that. And so he launched his first unit, implemented dynamic pricing, and then, they kind of took off from there and are still growing and moving along. So
wow. Okay. And you said you were thinking about picking up some arbitrages. What markets are you looking at targeting? Are you staying in that Big Bear area, or are you looking around?
Our arbitrage, I don't think would do too well in Big Bear. I think, a hybrid of that. I like working with the single family homes, larger homes. That's kind of, my sweet spot, I think, from an ADR standpoint. And just, I like working with the homes rather than a 1-bedroom apartment. So I like the hybrid where you're renting a home from an owner at a fixed monthly rent, and then, then you're re-renting it. So kind of the arbitrage model, but at the single family home level. I think that's an interesting model that I could see in the destination market like Big Bear. But for urban, I mean, I'm looking at, San Diego County, maybe some Orange County areas, depending on regulatory, Newport Beach. There's some areas that I think could do well if you have the right relationships, with the operations people.
Yeah, Newport's hot. Be careful in San Diego, though. They just slashed 70% of their rentals with regulations. So
yeah, I heard. I was there actually when they banned them initially back in like 2000. I think it was 2016 or 17, maybe. For a period, they banned them. Went through court. I think there were some lawsuits, and then reinstated rentals. So there's always, volatility, especially in San Diego, man.
Ooh.
How about for you guys? How's the regulation landscape?
Well, Steve's been shut down. I'll let him talk about that.
Yeah. I was renting out houses actually, and my own houses, and one was in a town called Hearst, a little bitty town called Hearst, and the other one was in Arlington, which is where the Cowboys Stadium is, and all that, and all those stadiums, Texas Rangers. And so that one was, I mean, they were both making me good money, but that one by the stadiums was making me I was making like $4,000 a month, around $3,000 or $4,000 a month, maybe sometimes $5,000. It was just crazy. And then the city of Arlington, this is how me and Myka, we looked at the timeline, and I sent Myka too. I was sending him messages of like, I saw I was reading business articles, and I was like, looks like the billionaires are starting to build hotels in Arlington. And there was no hotels in Arlington, hardly, like a couple. And so they didn't mind Airbnb. But then I was like, the writing's on the wall. Jerry Jones and his boys are building hotels, and then the next thing you know, they banned Airbnb. It's the timing was strange, And so they got shut down. We got shut down in Arlington and Hearst. And I do Dallas is still, knock on wood, Dallas is still Airbnb friendly, and so we have like five of them over there, and one in Fort Worth, which is more long-term rental. So yeah, it's just hit or miss over here, because Fort Worth banned, Dallas is wide open right now, and then there's just little cities here and there that are banned. It's just a mix. It's a mix over here.
Yeah, and Dallas just announced after, I've been hearing rumblings about Dallas implementing, but I mean, we don't own anything over there. It's all arbitrage, so I think we should be good. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, but there's a lot of short-term rental friendly places in the DFW, like Plano, McKinney, and then once you go outside of that, you have like Conroe, Houston, those areas. Those are like short-term rental friendly areas. But yeah, it's Texas has been a mixed bag. Like in Austin, it's just like it's very strict down there. So
interesting.
Yeah. So I guess might have to make sense as like a long-term 30 days or more rental. And I just see Airbnb as icing on the cake if we can do it. But if we do get shut down again, at least I can do 30 days or more. Pretty much everywhere in the country allows. Knock on wood again. Hopefully they don't ban that next. But everywhere in the country allows 30 days or more anywhere you go. So they have to make sense in that regard. Travel nurses, traveling professionals, stuff like that.
Definitely.
So with Big Bear Lake, because I have a few timeshares I rent out there. With it being like, it's pretty seasonal, right? Or
up until COVID, it was, but we've been at very high occupancy since July. I mean, I think it's one of the hottest markets in the country. Airbnb released that report a few weeks back, and Big Bear was top 5 for markets. So we've been, December we were at 98%, which usually it's usually full occupancy. November, December, and January are usually maxed out, but then we've been at 80 to 90 through February. March, we're at about 80%. So we're pacing pretty well for April. But, I think that people are being forced to kind of rediscover their own backyard as far as drive-to markets. And so hopefully all the operators are giving them a good experience, and they'll keep coming back, so it could change. We'll see though, but it's hot right now. And it's supposed to snow 6 to 12 inches tonight.
Oh.
Really? And
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's Big Bear. You're right. Ooh.
Yep. So
Damn.
that'll be good for everyone, all the owners and guests.
No, they're there to see snow, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we just had our fill of that stuff. We don't want to see it for a long time, man.
Right? Whew.
It shut down our whole state.
Man, glad you guys are safe,
Uh,
man. It's whew.
yeah, it was terrible. So the other company you worked for was Turnkey. Explain what they are.
Yeah, Turnkey's based out of Austin, actually.
Oh,
So
nice.
Turnkey Vacation Rentals, they manage, I want to say, probably close to 10,000 homes by now.
Mm.
But, I'd say they're, like Vacasa, larger venture backed. Vacasa's raised, I think, 525 million. Turnkey, I think, has raised under 100 million, but they're up there as well. So they launched a little bit later, different, two separate operating systems, if you will, as far as how they operate. So, but kind of the same type of thing, revenue share, management commission split.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, so I saw some signs with Turnkey down there in Padre too. So I
yeah,
saw a lot of
Turnkey.
like a
Yep.
lot of Vacasa, but then I saw a few turnkeys, so it was interesting. Um, the larger homes model, how do you go about like designing, decorating, to get the full potential out of a larger home for a family or whoever you're trying to host?
Yeah. So when I get the home, typically they're already furnished. A lot of them have been operating as rentals. So what I'll usually do is make any recommendations for anything that needs to be, taken care of for wear and tear, carpet, maybe like new barbecues. We'll do an assessment of kind of the health of the home and give the owners our recommendations. And some of them will be non-negotiable. Like we must have a new kitchen table prior to being able to have guests. So we'll kind of determine what level the home needs to be at prior to the first guest arriving. And then we'll kind of help play project manager with the owner getting that taken care of. Like one of our homes right now is having the carpet replaced and a new kitchen cabinets put in this week. So we'll block off the calendar and take care of that for the owner.
So what thing or things do you notice, like you said when you do an assessment, that most homeowners that are doing, throwing it on Airbnb or whatever, are doing wrong, that is leaving a lot of money on the table? Or what things are the most likely that could be changed that could get them a lot more money?
Yeah, I think looking at the condition of the furniture, I think owners, or I've seen especially in the arbitrage world that I've peeked into a little, is they'll, try to cut costs where they can, of course. Oftentimes it comes down to the comfort of the furniture or, the type of towels or sheets they're using. And I think that the value knock that you might get over time is going to hurt the average daily rate that you're capable of getting over the kind of long term for the home. So I think really looking at it from the guest standpoint, and I always recommend stay in your units before you have any guest stay in them, and really look at it from the guest perspective. Walk around barefoot, see how the floors and carpet feels, all of that sort of stuff. I think if you look at it from the lens of a guest, and really ask if would this be an inconvenience or uncomfortable to them, I think you really have to be thoughtful about, and intentional about that, and it will pay off. So that's a big part of it. If you have a hot tub, I think if you have an 8 occupancy house and a 4-person hot tub, like those little things, mismatched amenities. If you're going to have 5 bathrooms, have 5 hair dryers. I think going the extra mile so the guests know that you're looking after their experience and not just looking after a dollar sign. I think that's going to be the winning strategy.
Nice.
Now I have a question. How many units are you currently managing out there in Big Bear Lake?
So right now we have 8 live with us. We just signed our 12th unit. And then we have some units going live in Florida and Tennessee over the next 2 months as well. But with the same owner from Big Bear.
Oh, are you guys going to the Gatlinburg market?
Yeah. So they have 2 units out in Gatlinburg. So we're working on establishing the LLCs in Tennessee and in Florida.
Okay.
Nice. That's cool. Expanding.
It's another hot market. Yeah, Gatlinburg for sure. The Smoky Mountains.
Oh yeah. We had some guests on there. Man, this was like when we first started our podcast, that first few episodes, we interviewed some Smoky Mountains, some people that were doing some Smoky Mountains rentals, and they were killing it. I was like, and we thought it was too late to get in at that point. Man, it's probably the prices have doubled or tripled by now.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep going up. I think those markets are going to be hot for years to come, and it's whoever can provide the best experience from a management standpoint is going to, have a very healthy businh.
Yeah. Now, on that management side, like so with you handling that many and you have them across multiple markets, how do you handle your turnovers since you're far away? How do you build your team? I should say. Yeah,
so and that's a great question, and definitely the secret sauce, is the on the ground team. I was fortunate enough in Big Bear that I was able to hire a director of operations and partner with him. So he's a partner with the company in Big Bear, and he's been running operations up there for about 6 years. I hired him back with Vaca Casa actually when we first started. So I think with him, he is so familiar with the operational management at the individual unit level that he handles a lot of the manual day-to-day operational management. And then our systems that we use for operations management will kind of help with the rest. So we automate a lot of it. And then we have Tim up there taking care of the on the ground.
Nice. It's important to have boots on the ground, right?
It's everything, in my opinion, especially with the larger homes. It can be so complicated that you have to have a reliable team, and not just, a motivated team also. As you know, operations can be draining.
Mm. And so what has your experience in the military taught you about operations and systems?
I think that the biggest thing is inspect what you expect. I think that if you are expecting a level of service or a level of satisfaction or whatever, you need to inspect that work to make sure that you're continuously getting that same level of output. And I think that when you give individuals sometimes the chance to get complacent or cut corners because they know that you're not watching them, I think that can lead to issues when you're in a intensely, like a operationally intense environment. So for example, if you're contracting with a housekeeping company and you have, like we do, an average turnaround of 2.5 days, where we're at 95% occupancy for 8 units, if we aren't inspecting most of those cleans and that team knows that we're not inspecting them, corners will start to be cut, and we won't find out until we get a bad review, and then we kind of have to peel back a little and figure out what went wrong. So I think putting a mechanism in place to be continuously inspecting the quality is important. And it's not that they don't want to do a good job. It's that sometimes we put pressure on them to hurry up or to do too much. And so we need to inspect for our own deficiencies as well, not just a deficiency on the cleaner side. It could be a planning deficiency. And in my experience, there are a lot of planning deficiencies at a lot of levels. And in our vacation rental industry, there aren't as many checks and balances as in the military per se. So it can slip through the cracks a little more if you're not kind of paying attention to that stuff. So I think those are some of the important aspects I've learned.
So instead of like the cleaners telling you doing 10 units in 1 hour is impossible, well, okay, if they want it, we'll go ahead and do it, but it's not going to be the best job. They'll try it anyways.
I mean, I don't know if they will try it, but I think that sometimes they do have a tendency to rush through a clean and not maybe go through all the details. So I think just checks and balances are important
Mhm.
throughout.
And how do they respond to like the feedback when you say, "Hey, we sent someone through. This is dirty. This is dirty. You did this wrong. This is wrong." They don't come at. They don't get defensive, or they just.
I mean, I think that depending on how you approach it, I think it comes back to how expectations were set. And when I first partnered with her, I let her know they knew the importance of the housekeeping apparatus to our company, and that we wanted to partner with someone that had the same values as we did, and the same, how they want the guests to be treated. And so I think that they appreciate when we bring it up to her, because it's also maybe showing her where she could fix some gaps in her company that could make them more efficient. Because at the end of the day, how important the reviews are. So if they're getting reviews are slipping, and it allows people to go back and just reassess how they're handling the process. So we've had some cleans where we had guests complain and they didn't charge us for the clean. Because they felt that they should have done that and they didn't handle it. So we call them back a few, maybe once or twice a week to fix something, and they usually don't have issues with it.
And this is what I'm seeing a lot in the industry is like these people are doing management and they're managing more than 5-10 units. They're contracting a particular a cleaning company, right, to do it, instead of just using turnover B&B, which is good if it's one or two maybe. But yeah, they mentioned that they want to find someone with the same values, so that I guess they have a boss to report to in a way, so you could tell that person, hey, your cleaners are kind of messing up over here, and it's just more efficient to just contract a cleaning company to do all the cleanings for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, cleaning is definitely one of the top 2 or 3 most important aspects of vacation rent, of management. I think that you can make arguments for what's more important, but I think that that's a huge aspect of it. And if you're just finding some random person online that you're hoping is going to show up and clean it, and they're really that last touch point with the guest before they leave a review, that's a lot of trust you're putting in someone. And not that, you can't trust someone to that degree, but I think that, it's risky in this industry when reviews drive the bookings so heavily.
Wow. And one question I did have for you, like, since you've hired a cleaning crew, how are you going about handling like the communication between, hey, it's time to go for a clean? Are you using like a calendar, turnover B&B? How is your team handling that?
So we use Breezeway, which is breezeway.io is the website. I'm 99% sure that's the website, breezeway.io. They do operational management and task management. They integrate directly with our PMS. And so they're able to pull reservations from the PMS directly into the housekeeping app. So as a prerequisite for the housekeeping company working with us, they have to agree to 100% adoption rate of using our own app for the cleaning. So they just get their scheduling all through there, and it's scheduled a week in advance. So,
wow. And which PMS system are you using?
I use Guesty. So Guesty, I've used them since I started. I used them a little bit when I was consulting with a few companies, and then I've used them since we launched.
Okay, and they've worked out pretty well for you?
They've been fantastic for me. I liked them when I used them before, and they've always been responsive. They're always, new APIs. I think they were the Y Combinator, company of the year last year, the tech company of the year. So, and they've been around a while. As you know, there's new companies that pop up every week. It seems like a new PMS. There's, I think, over 300 or something now of them.
Wow.
Total across hotels and arbitrage. So, I like a company that's been around a while too.
And is Guesty handling like all your guest communication, or are you just using them for just the management side? Just like, hey, keep track of the calendar and all that, or how's that going?
calendar. We do some maintenance and task management, dynamic pricing. You can do a full dynamic pricing through them as well. But yeah, we use all of that. So everything.
Cool. So where do you see the short-term rental industry going in the next few years?
I mean, I think it'll continue to be more mainstream. When I first started with Vaca Casa, 80% of the owners I talked to had never heard of Airbnb. The first few owners I signed up, I met through Craigslist. There used to be a vacation rental tab section. So I would click the vacation rental tab and I would email those owners saying, hey, there's some new distribution channels that you should check out, like Airbnb. And, they thought I was a scammer for a few months and I kept following up, and then we'd sign them and kind of convert them over. In fact, the first owner I signed up with, Patriot, I met through Craigslist in 2014, signing her house up. So it's kind of funny how it's come full circle. But I think it will just continue to be more mainstream. I think more companies on the guest services side, will start coming in and, sophisticating the industry maybe a little bit more, defragmenting it through acquisitions. I think that there's going to be a lot of acquisitions over the next few years, as there has been. But I think on the technology side, it'll be interesting to see, what companies are going to get rolled up into other larger companies. So we'll see. I think there's going to be a lot of changes, a lot of opportunity, for everybody. That's what I love the most about it, is that it's an industry that anybody can come into and find success. So I think that I love that about it.
And okay, so how are you currently marketing to pick up more units? How are you just working with the owners? You already have a base set of owners, or are you still actively marketing?
So most of my owners have come through referrals or through finding us through Yelp. One thing I've really tried to do is get guests leaving reviews on Yelp as well to kind of help us build that piece. So if they have a really good stay and leave a good review on Airbnb, we'll reach out and see if they'll go out of their way to leave us a Yelp review. And so we've had a lot of owners that have found us organically through Yelp and signed up that way. So 6 of our owners have come through either Yelp or a referral. We haven't done any outbound marketing yet, but that's going to be coming up in spring. We'll start doing some more direct marketing campaigns, very targeted. So it's word of mouth right now. I think I've always said operations is the best marketing in vacation rentals. If you're providing value for the owners and the guests are having a good time, owners will find you. I think it's pretty easy to sign owners up. I think just being realistic with the expectations and executing, that's, the challenging part.
Yeah, you dropped a gem. I had never thought to use Yelp. Whenever I think of Yelp, I think of food.
And most people think of complaining.
Yeah, that too.
So if you can get ahead of the game and get those reviews before the complaints, because the Yelpers are going to come at some point. It's but if you can just get ahead of them with a few good reviews that had quality time, I think that's important. So it's not all the Yelpers.
So what you're doing,
the helpers.
You're just going on there. You sign your company up to be on there, right?
Yeah, if you Google Patriot Vacation Rentals Big Bear Lake, you'll see the Yelp page and you can click on it. And you'll see some guests that left us reviews. They canceled because of COVID outside of Airbnb's policy. We could have kept the money like a lot of companies did. We called them and said, hey, we totally empathize with your situation, but this could cost us and the owner some money. If you would feel like leaving us a review on Yelp, that would be appreciated, but you don't have to. Here's your $3,700 back. And 9 times out of 10, they go leave a great review on Yelp. So that's how you can do guests that don't even stay. They didn't even stay with us. They don't qualify for an Airbnb review, but we still got a Yelp review out of them.
Oh, that's great.
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, that was a huge gem I picked up, at Vaca Casa, learning early on how valuable the reviews were to the overall revenue for each unit. I saw how intensely they focused, we were focusing on that. So that's something I've always looked at. You really want to capture those good reviews. They're worth a lot.
So what did the guys at Vaca Casa think that you were starting your own management company?
Well, I left them years. I mean, there's a pretty large gap between, and I have non-competes and there's things I need to be careful of doing. And I respect them and what they're doing. I just think that, I don't do well working for people. I think, I like to do my own thing and kind of make my own decisions. And this was a way for me to not only set the expectations with the owners, but more importantly, make sure that I'm following through with them. And I'm able to really do that now as the owner of the company.
Nice.
But I'm sure they're supportive. So I think that, the industry is at a place where the operators, big and small, determine the future of our industry. I think that, vacation rentals could get shut down in a lot more areas. Big Bear Lake is even redoing some of their ordinances because of the uptick in parties. And those usually stem from homes that maybe aren't managed the way they should be or responsibly with respect to the rest of the community. So I think that as operators, we have a obligation to really push that we are responsible and we do care about the neighbors, and 99% of us do, I think. So I think drowning out the 1% is important for us over the next few years. And I think companies big and small have an obligation to do that at the small level, but at the local and the government level as well, to make sure that we're able to keep operating.
So that brings me up to the next point. What's your, as a management company, because you guys have less risks, but what is your exit strategy?
As far as, for me, I'd like the homes that I'm signing and especially with Patriot as we give back a lot, very veteran initiative focused. That's huge for me. That's what, really motivates me. I would like that to be around for as long as the vacation rental industry is around. I want to build a sustainable company where the employees that are W-2'd employees that I have benefits. They're able to, take care of their families and progress within a company. So that's kind of my exit there, is just building something that is sustainable at some level without too much overhead. I want to build a conscious business that isn't just burning through cash because I can, so I want to take care of the owners and that sort of thing.
Nice. Are you running a mostly debt-free business?
Yeah, 100% debt. I don't even have a company credit card.
Wow.
It's all one debit card. That'll change, but I really, early on, it's important for me to be involved as much as I can and make sure that we're making the decisions that, I have promised the owners we would be, with their best interest in mind. So, I like every owner feels like the only owner. That's kind of my mantra with all my owners. They could call me at any time. I got calls on Thanksgiving, on weekends, just to talk about even things other than vacation rentals. So that's a huge part of it for me, just the whole relationship side.
Nice. And I've noticed that too, because it's funny because, when I was setting up my own arbitrages at first and doing things like that, I was using, hitting the credit card, paying someone to go and design them and just, they spent that much. Okay, well, it's on a credit card, zero interest credit card. I'll pay it back whenever. And then, but when I started partnering with my buddy, Federico, we started getting some arbitrages of our own. I told him, you know what, I want to try to be as debt-free as possible. And I said, and then, so, at first it was like, okay, how are we going to get a unit up and running? It caused us to be more creative. It caused us to talk to the owner. Hey, can we go ahead and get in there a few weeks early? Can we go ahead and do this? You can leave the place furnished. We'll do, it caused us to look at furnished places already. And instead of just saying, oh, I'm just going to get any apartment or any, condo, and I got access to $100,000 in debt, I'm just going to go ahead and spend 10 or 20 grand on there. It kind of makes you lazy, because it's like, easy. I got the money's right here. I'll pay it back later. But when you have a specific amount of money to work with, it causes you to like think outside the box. How can I get in there as cheaply and efficiently as possible? And then and it changes your whole mindset, and you start operating a little bit more efficiently, like a machine. Just what I've noticed, instead of using debt.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think that for arbitrage, I consulted with a few arbitrage companies that were managing, north of 100 units. And I would always recommend diversifying into some, single family revenue share management. And that can allow you to build some cash flow that you can then put into the arbitrage model. So I think that's a way to look at it too, building up a little cash, like a little hybrid model. But yeah, I mean, I agree. It's a volatile industry, a volatile time in general. And then with too much debt, it's, we've seen how fast some companies have shut their doors during the pandemic. But it's a heavy cash industry as well. It takes a lot of cash for the arbitrage. So
I love what y'all brought that up, because it goes back to this episode we had with Alvin Hope Johnson. He said, he lost everything, got it all back, but he goes, I keep a waterfall of cash now. So on the back end, I got something that's just cash flowing. You got to have that. That is very important. Very important.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I've noticed with mine, like we start making some profit from the next one, or we get like a long-term renter with, they give us a $1,000 deposit, they give first month's rent and all this stuff. I was like, oh, okay, we can go ahead and start the next one with this money, and then start cash flowing that one, and then get someone in there for 3 months, 6 months with their money. We can start the next one. It's kind of like, yeah, we're using that cash flow to start the next one, instead of just putting it all on a credit card or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a good idea too. Just, and then the good thing is you're kind of refining, you're iterating on the ops side, and, some metrics to track that I started tracking was like time to live. So from the time you're first able to start getting the homes onboarded, how long it takes you to actually go live with it, and then time to revenue. So from the time you go live to the time you're first getting revenue, and then from the time of when you start to revenue. I would look at those metrics as well, and then see where you can kind of refine that process and, start cash flowing a little sooner, maybe.
Exactly. And that's the thing too, because like for example, if I spent $5,000 to start off a one bedroom condo back in the day, zero interest credit card, I might not make that $5,000 back until like month 5 or month 6 or longer than that, and that's
Right.
just to pay off the debt, and then I can start actually making profit. Whereas now we switched it to finding places that are already furnished, and we negotiate with the people to leave the stuff there. In month 1 or 2, we're already profiting. It's like, yeah, it totally changes how you think when you don't. I guess sometimes I think that debt makes us a little lazy.
Yeah. I mean, I think some is necessary early on. I think even with the management model, I was, there were weeks where I was like, oh, this is going to be a tough payroll. But, it was early, and, I knew I was going in the middle of COVID. I knew that even making it to December was uncertain. So that was for me, it was like, that's how I like it. I kind of operate a little bit better in a little bit of chaos, with like, I don't want to say my back against the wall type thing, but yeah, I mean, when there's a little pressure on, I feel like that's where I get the best results out of myself. So it's a timing thing, If it takes you 5 months to get the 5K, or 2 months, can also be kind of a timing thing in the market, like when you're going live with the units and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of considerations, man. That's what I love about the industry. It's, it's complex. You wouldn't think how complex it is, but when you start digging in the weeds, it's complex for sure.
And plus, I mean, you talk about chaotic situations or whatever. I mean, you're coming from the military, so this is probably nothing compared to what you've been through.
Well, you'd be surprised because you're kind of built for it. Like that's your comfort zone a little. So I've had stressful days in the vacation industry where I'm like, whew, man, send me back to Afghanistan. But I mean, but really though, I mean, there are some overlaps where, stress is stress. I think that, people deal with it differently. But I definitely think that housekeepers could be under just as much stress as someone, doing something that people would say is more stressful. So I think, it just kind of depends. But yeah, the military definitely prepared me for making decisions under pressure that have consequences. I think I'm a lot more comfortable just making a decision without having to think too fast. That's probably the biggest benefit, decision making. So
Oh, cool. Yeah. And I guess in life there's good stress and bad stress, right? I guess bad stress would be something stressing over something you can't do nothing about. And good
right.
stress is a situation where, oh shit, we got to make payroll, we got to do this, we got to get these units going, and you got to, a few days, a few weeks to do it. You got to figure it out, but at least you have some control, and it's a good stress. It pushes you to think outside of the box and
Totally.
try to, accomplish things.
Yeah, and I have to reframe that just for me because I'll start going down that where I start maybe making things a little more stressful than they are because of maybe past experiences, and I'll have to reframe it and say, you don't have to do this. You get to do this. A few years ago, you would have wished you could be doing this right now. So I think, yeah, just, reframing it. It's all about perspective. So I think, when you look at it that way, it's spot on, Steve, for sure.
Nice. So what advice would you have to our fans and listeners, how to get started in this short-term rental industry?
I mean, I think, get educated is a big part. I think there's a lot of educational information around how to sign new units up is probably the most common educational piece I've seen. I think that people will find that's the easier part. I think dig a little deeper and start doing some operations research. Get on the operations website, like Breezeway. Look at some of their tutorials. Maybe just because they're on a Breezeway or VR Scheduler's website, it's a lot of industry knowledge. So I think getting on the different channels and really inundating yourself with the knowledge is important, because when you get in front of these homeowners, they're going to expect you to have a high level of knowledge when they start asking questions, because many of them have been managing themselves for a few years. So I think just get educated, start planting the seeds for the relationships that you want to grow. Some of your best homeowners that you sign in 2 or 3 years, you're going to meet today or tomorrow. It can be a nurturing relationship. So start planting seeds and, set clear expectations. I think owners, they are very optimistic at times, and they will believe a lot of what we tell them as management companies. And I think just making sure you're setting very clear expectations is critical for growth and for starting out, because you can lose owners just as fast as you sign them.
That's good information right there. Yeah. Anything to add, Myka?
Nah, that was really good stuff, because I definitely just looked up Breezeway. It's definitely stuff that I need to look into. So yeah, man, you're a wealth of knowledge, man. And by the way, we met him off Clubhouse as well, so he's a
Yes,
wealth
sir.
of knowledge. Man. So
definitely. Yeah, no, super thankful I met you guys, man. Looking forward to getting out that way once COVID's over too.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely come out, have a drink, or do what we can do, hang and talk some shop.
Yeah. So where can folks find you, Kevin?
Well, so my website's patriotvr.com. You can find me at my link tree is linktree.com/Kevin Knight. That has all the links to, my own personal pages, my LinkedIn, my website, even like a poker page. And then I've got some deals for like Pricelabs, Rank Breeze, some other sites that folks can look at and check out.
So you're a poker player.
I am. I try to be. I'm not saying I'm a good one, but I do like playing tournament poker.
Like online or at the casinos or what?
I play online, but I've played in the World Series of poker.
Really?
So not the main event, but they run about 50 events during the World Series. I played in 3 of them. I cashed in 1 of them. So
Nice.
I mean, I can do all right if I get real lucky and then playing against really bad players. But no, it's fun, man.
I fancy myself a decent poker player, and it is cool. It's in a way it prepares you how to talk to and look for signs in people when like you said, homeowners or people you're trying to do business with. It kind of helps you keep your cool and then see how they're reacting to what you're saying. Poker kind of helps teach you that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Definitely, man. No, we'll have to play too, man. If you guys ever come out to Vegas, for sure.
Oh, big time. Yeah. Maybe we'll play some online poker too. My dad likes to play too. Get a room or something.
Yeah, they got the WSOP online out here. You can play for real money.
Oh, nice.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, they had the World Series because they canceled the live one. So they had it all online, all bracelet events. So, yeah, there's tournaments going every day on there.
Cool.
Check that out. Yeah, man. Now you also have to give me the inside gems on Breezeway. So yeah, this is a dope platform. I'm definitely signing up for a demo.
Yeah, man. And reach out, Vincent. Actually, I'll email you too. I'll connect you with him directly.
Okay.
If you want. So yeah,
Okay.
I'll connect you with Vincent for sure.
Perfect. That sounds good, man. Thank you for coming on and providing value, man.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it, man. You
right.
guys are great, and we'll talk soon.
All right.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Myka.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin.
No problem. Thanks. You're out.
Later.
All right, Stevie Stacks. Let's go. Have another great episode.
Yeah, the awkward dismount.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's a great show. Kevin was a great guest. He's dropped some insight on us. And Breezeway, I did circle that because I was like, why does he keep mentioning Breezeway? What is that about? And then you're over there looking it up. So I guess that's a pretty cool site.
See, and that's what I was looking at. That's what I was asking about his operations, man, because I'm like, I got to find a way. You got to find a way once you're expanded to have everything just streamlined. So I'm trying to replace myself right now. So I'm like trying to find all the tools to where I can just hand it off to my assistant. They take care of everything. So this looks like it's pretty dope. So yeah, man.
Oh, nice. And you still studying to get your to sell houses to your
Get my
agent
license?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I actually started reading today. After I finished my book, I started reading today on my real estate. So I'm on that real tough. Yeah, I'm going all in.
It's not like you didn't have enough stuff to do already, huh?
Yeah, I ain't. That's what I'm trying to offset stuff, so I don't have a lot of stuff to do. So, but yeah, man, once I get that license, I've been pretty excited about the opportunities that I see. So, yeah.
Cool. So you're heading out Thursday?
Yeah.
Vegas.
Heading out Thursday, heading to Vegas. We'll be there for Mahogany's birthday for 4 days.
Nice.
Staying in our own Airbnb out there. So, yeah, doing that.
That is cool, man. Yeah, Federico will be in town for this week and next week, so we got to do a show.
He'll be here next week too, right?
Yeah.
When's he leave?
I know he's still got over almost 2 weeks left here. So.
Oh yeah. Next week when I come back, man, we got to hang out. We got to do it.
Yeah, Tato, our man in Buenos Aires, is here. So.
Yes, sir. We got to get him on and talk shop with him because he's doing a hell of a job. He's a hell of a job, man. So y'all picking up more units in Dallas?
Yeah, we're getting one ready right now. Well, we just got one ready and got a 3-month person put in there. I told you I like that model better, throwing someone in there, forgetting about it. It's a lot easier, less headache, a lot less work, and it's less work and you still get good money. That's the way to do it, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we got 8 on the line, but I'm not sold on them because I don't like their there's a lot of red tape. So when there's red tape, I'm like, nowadays, when I first started, I would go through that. Now I'm like, if you can't meet the needs of what I need, then I'm not touching it. So got quite a few on the line. So I'm just like,
Yeah, we're starting to see a little of the red flags early on too. Like, hey, we're going to need the information of your guests that are going to be staying here, stuff like that. I'm
like pet vaccines, shit like that. Like, come on, man. What are you worried about here? Come on, pet vaccines? Like, think the dog's got COVID? Come on,
yeah.
man. I want our listeners to know, man, if it's just too much red tape, just back out of the deal. It ain't worth it. Like Steve said, you can go find someone that's fully furnished. There's so many different models. Don't waste your time on that red tape crap, man. Like, when they said dog vaccines, I'm like, what the okay.
I know you've already probably, because you've done arbitraging for a while now, but what I've noticed, man, it's just like how many of these apartment complexes, it seems like they only have like one worker there that you try to message back and forth with, and it's, I can't tomorrow, or I can't the next, until next week because I don't know, my daughter's recital, or I got this, or I'm going out of town. I'm like, is not anybody else working at the damn office? I run in this.
You got to climb that corporate ladder. Yeah, you got to go above them. That's what we've been finding. You just go above them. So we got this deal where our guy, he just went above everybody. He's like, look, I need a corporate lease. This is how many units we want. And then they put us up with the corporate people. And they're like, oh, okay, this is what you're trying to do. Yeah, you can't call that dude at the front desk. Dude might not be there one day. Management might change. Yeah, don't call that dude at the front desk, man. That's what I call him, the dude at the front desk, man.
Dude at the front desk. That's hardly ever there, man.
Yeah, you gotta go above him. Like, man, let me speak to your manager.
You hear some chickens in the background. That dude might even be in the Philippines or something.
For real, yeah, man. You gotta, don't the dude at the front office, that ain't the one you want to talk to.
So how do you go up the corporate ladder?
Just let them know what you want. Like, hey, tell the person at the front desk, the dude at the front desk, like, look, man, we need 15 leases. He's gonna be like, oh, what the hell? You got to throw something big and crazy at him. Just so like, hey, get me to someone who can get this deal closed. Then you pitch your whatever you're pitching. First thing I tell people, get on the phone and just ask if they're doing corporate leases. If they say no, go to the next one. Getting the yes, and I was just talking to a friend of mine, Mike, ex-football player. I was talking to him, and he was talking about it, and he was just asking me. I was like, yeah, man, getting the yes is pretty easy, but you just have to have everything lined up. Your DUNS number, have your business structure set up, and that's what I find a lot of people, they don't have a business structure, just business structure in general. And I was telling, like, a guy was saying earlier on Airbnb, on Facebook, they were like, yeah, you don't need to run background checks, man. Airbnb will do all that for you. I'm like, man, you got to get out the Airbnb train, dude. that way is all over with, man. You got to have your own business nowadays. So business structure is huge.
Yeah, the chaotic hosts, right?
Yeah. Like Eric called them the chaotic hosts, and I knew exactly what he was talking about. I'm like, man, people don't strive for the business structure, That's why I loved his Kevin. He was talking about the business structure. I have Breezeway. I have Turnkey. And one thing about Guesty, I will say, I wasn't happy with them, but maybe with the right business model, maybe from a management business model, Guesty might be perfect. Because if you think about it, they only take 1%. And if you're taking 20%, and that's all you're doing, you 19%, and they do everything for you, might be a hell of a trade-off.
That's true, right? That's true. Cool, man.
But yeah, man, good show. Where can they catch you, Steve?
At liveletthrive.com, liveletthrive@gmail.com. We're on all the sites, the IGs, we're on the Facebooks, we're on the Clubhouses, we're everywhere, man. You can't miss us. Live Let Thrive. Leave us a review somewhere. Hopefully, leave it on iTunes. That'd be a great place to leave it. We're loving the reviews that are out there, most of them, and even a bad review, helps us. Okay, we're doing that wrong. Screw you anyways. But we're still gonna keep it real. But we like hearing people's opinions.
Oh, if it's bad, just send us an email, Dave.
Hey, are you gonna get the COVID? One of the vaccines?
No.
No. Okay. It's not controversial. It's not controversial. It's funny. Yesterday I was at the. It's a funny story. We were at the IKEA. Me and Federico were at the IKEA. Two dudes shopping at IKEA, whatever. And we're sitting outside eating some pretzels. Right there out front, because I guess you got to take your food outside now, whatever it is. And this brother man come up to us. He goes, I didn't know if he was homeless. I don't know what he just come up with. Hey, my brothers. y'all didn't get the kill shot, did you? I was like, the what? The kill shot? He goes, yeah, that COVID vaccine. Y'all didn't get the kill shot, did you? I was like, no, sir. He's like, oh, man, don't get it, man. That's straight up killing people. And I was having fun with him. I was like, yeah, man, that's what I heard. It killed Hank Aaron. He's like, yeah, man. He goes, he got the first shot, and he got the next shot, and it killed him the next day. It's killing people. Don't take that kill shot. We're dying, dude.
Killed it. Oh man, Steve was crazy as shit.
I've been reading about it a little bit. I might go ahead and get it, man. It's not. Yeah, I might go ahead and get it.
Go
Plus,
ahead, man. What do you think, man?
we gotta go back and forth to Mexico a lot. It's gonna help us with our travels and stuff like that. You know, we don't have to quarantine if we get it.
You know, I'm going to Mexico in May.
Okay.
And
cool.
past guest Amanda, I saw her. You know, you have to get a COVID swab just to, you have to scratch your brain up a little bit just to come back into the country. Right. She showed the process. So yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, but do you have to? Can you bypass that if you get a COVID vaccine?
That's what they're saying. Yeah, when you come back, you don't have to quarantine for 14 days if you have the vaccine. Now, right now, they're recommending it when I come back from over Mexico. I have to quarantine for 14 days unless I have the vaccine, and I can go straight back to work. Now, the thing is, most people won't tell they don't have to tell their jobs where they're going, whatever. I fly on my job's tickets, so they know they know where I'm going. So it's a little bit of a different deal. So, and my wife was explaining it to me, and I've been listening, the podcast, and I've been reading a little bit about it. And I'm like, my mom got the 2 shots. She's old, real old, and it didn't affect her at all. She feels great. So
okay,
I'm leaning towards it.
Yeah, once you get yours, man, I might have to get one of your fake Vax cards and put my name on it so I can roll to Mexico. You already know that's about it. I'm telling people right now, if they start mandating like in and out of the country, I could see some fake Vax cards rolling through.
Oh man, I bet it's a big deal. Yeah, it's a big thing. There was traveling to when I was at the airport the other day. I worked there, and I was walking around upstairs on my lunch break, and there was this. It was a CVS. It was like a little area at the airport. It was like a CVS. It had like dividers and stuff, and like there's a desk right there, and it said COVID tests, rapid COVID tests. I was like, so I talked to the girl that was there. There was no line or nothing. I was like, oh, so you got rapid tests right here? She goes, yeah, it's mostly for people that are going, to Hawaii or certain countries that you have to have. Hawaii's not another country, but they require a COVID test, within 72 hours of your flight or whatever. And I was like, oh, cool. So is it free? She's like, oh, no, it's like $250. But you imagine the people getting there for their Hawaii trip and say, oh, by the way, some people that don't read or don't check it, you don't need a COVID test. Yeah, but what are you going to do? Cancel your whole Hawaii trip? They're going to make some money off that freaking COVID shit, man.
See, and that's why I was telling people, man, I don't think they'll force the vaccine, but they can push it. They can push it. I don't know, man. I might go get mine. Me and Mahogany will think about it. It is funny, like how you were saying, like I went to Walgreens the other day, and it was this older lady walking around with no mask. Man, I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, she took the Governor Abbott's word to heart and said, fuck this. So I was like, damn, and I'm sitting there and I'm behind her in line, and she starts talking to the cashier. She goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I forgot my mask. And I was like, oh, okay, she forgot. So I'm listening to her. And she's like, but I promise I'm vaccinated. She pulled out her Vax card, showed her. She's like, oh, no, you're fine. So I guess like those Vax cards, people keeping them on them like their credit cards, like to show their proof of moving around. But I don't know how those are going to play out in the future, but we'll see.
Yeah, the CD said if you get your vaccines, you don't have to, social distance. You don't got to wear masks no more. They're like, damn. I know. It's all shady. It's all – the emperor has no clothes, but we can't say it.
Yeah, we'll have to see on this one, man. We'll have to see, man. But cool. Yeah, man, we always love talking shop on Live Let Thrive. So
yes, sir. It'll be fun when we get Fede on here.
One last thing: do you think we're hitting a housing crisis?
That's a good question.
I'm gonna tell you what I mean by it, but I'm gonna let you answer first.
I mean, the government money got to run out sometimes, right? It's propping everything up. So when they stop, printing trillions and giving people money and giving them $600 on top of their unemployment, it might get a little it might get a little bad. It might get a little rough.
Yeah, because I'm noticing with this 1031, bro. I thought Texas was the only place they're sitting here overbidding on houses. Man, they're doing it everywhere, and it's getting stupidly crazy. Like, I'm gonna tell you how crazy it got. So, I've been, dog. I've probably put in about 10 offers the last week on houses, just 10 straight offers over the asking price, like 3,000 over the asking price. Nothing crazy and stupid. These other people putting in like 10, and they're getting them right. But like, I put in an offer today. And I don't know if it's maybe some discriminatory shit going on in the background. I don't know. But so the realtor comes back. She goes, this seller's agent's asking for some kind of weird stuff. She goes, she's asking for you to show proof of funds. So I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. I sent her my 1031 letter, right? And then she comes back and says, well, she wants the full cash amount. I'm like, but I'm getting it financed. And my realtor was like, I know, but that's what she's asking for. I'm like, are they just like saying, F it, I'm only taking cash offers, which they can't legally by law do that. But I'm like, what's going on? But these houses are getting like sniped up, and but the realtor comes back and tells me a lot of people's money is falling through, their finance is falling through. So I'm like, what's going on? So I don't know. But even my refi I did, man, it took a long ass time to get that done. We just literally got it done 2 weeks ago. And it took months. But it seems like there's not enough housing going on. Like, maybe, I think Alvin touched on it a little bit. He goes, man, we need more houses. And maybe we're running into that because these houses on the market a day, gone. Like, and this is in Arkansas, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. Because I know you haven't been in the buying game, right? So.
Not really, man. Everything was so freaking high. And and then I got into the arbitrage thing. I'm like, man, I could rent a place cheaper than buying a place, than putting a mortgage on a place, and my mortgage would be higher than renting at a home, a nice home.
And that used to be the big, huge selling point of buying a house, right? Hey, you can rent cheaper than where you live, right? But that's not even the case anymore. You can literally go get a 3-bedroom apartment cheaper than a house.
Exactly.
And you ain't got to do no maintenance.
You're not building no equity, but still.
Yeah, you're not. Well, you're a real estate investor. You're getting your equity through the investment side, right?
There you go.
So even if you think about the equity, is the equity worth you buying this house? You put 5 to 10% down. You buy the house, and then some shit breaks. You got to fix it. If you live in there, it ain't no house hack. What's the point of owning a home?
Here's the thing also, and I think the major thing, if you ever go to the Zillow and you play around with that mortgage thing at the bottom, right? And it'll tell you the mortgage, it's only $900 a month. But you click on the thing to add the taxes and insurance. That shit shoots up to like $1,900 a month. And I'm like, and it keeps going up every year. Taxes and insurance keep going up. And with this big freeze and all the pipes bursting, who's going to pay for that? We're going to pay for that shit. Our shit doubled for Katrina. Imagine this thing. It's going to man, get ready for your mortgage, all your mortgages to go up, dude.
Dude, you're making a good point. And I'm thinking about that shit. I'm like, dude, would it be easier to just rent out my house and just go live in an apartment? Shit break, they got to fix it.
Grant Cardone style, yeah.
Exactly. That's what he's saying. If shit breaks in this house, you got to fix that shit. So
you telling the renters to do it?
No, that's what I'm saying. Okay. Even if you have renters, you at least generating cash flow, right? Mm-hmm. So, okay, I'll take a hit on my cash flow. Here, you taking a hit on everything. It's your shit. You know what I mean? So It's like, and then my neighbors, they're selling their damn house, and they're moving to Waxahachie, which is kind of outside of the area, a little bit further out. But I'm just thinking that, man, like, maybe this house owning shit, because right now I'm about to do about $5,000 worth of work in my house, get some holes patched up, get my office enclosed. I'm like, man, I wonder if renting an apartment is cheap, because I think renting is ultimately cheaper.
Right now it is. Because
even if you take the rent, lights, water, gas, maintenance, there is no maintenance because they got to cover it.
Yeah. Grant Cardone rents a badass luxury apartment or condo in Miami. He ain't buying it. Something breaks, they gotta fix it.
Exactly. You have to. Could we be saying, is a home really equity or just a money pit?
It's your biggest liability until you're making money off of it, right?
Until you rent it.
Until you rent it.
Because I am doing a HELOC on it, but I'm like, man, because by the way, we should have did that a long time ago. My new thing is get a HELOC on your primary, everything else cash out refis. But yeah, I should have did that a long ass time ago. I never thought about that. Might as well use your home as leverage. Let your HELOC set you up rentals, arbitrages, whatever you want, and then let it cash flow the house. That's the only way I can see it doing it.
And then if you look at it that way, okay, your primary home is kind of like your bank. Yeah, you get that instead of renting an apartment. You can't use any of that stuff.
That's true. But I just kind of wanted to throw that out there because I've just been noticing real weird shit in the housing market, man. And I'm just like, yo, this is getting crazy. There's no houses available, man.
Man, I'm I'm looking at it's crazy because I'm looking at Zillow every day, and as far as trying to rent a house now, I'm like, well, that might be the play, man. The rental prices, since so many people are trying to do rental houses now, the prices have dropped. Like
really?
You can get into a place for like. Whereas a few months back, before this COVID shit, I mean, people were wanting like $1,900, $2,000 for these particular houses I was looking at, or $2,000 or more. And now they're asking for those same ones around $1,500, $1,600, maybe $1,700. So they're dropping because there's so many people now in the rental game, and there's like a race to the bottom. So I mean, I can arbitrage some pretty good deals right now.
Now, have you been doing houses, or are you just still doing like the apartments?
We're still doing the condos, but I'm looking to get into the housing part of it.
And I like how Kevin said that too. The thing I like about houses is too, you can increase that KPI. Like I just did that on my houses in Arkansas. I said, man, I'm going to see if I can make $3,000 a month. And I just went to Pricelabs and adjusted the prices to where my bare minimum is going to be $3,000 a month due to the pricing. And I'm going to see if it works. So yeah, that is a good thing about houses too. And I didn't even know, I haven't been looking at the housing here, like the arbitrage game here, like on the house side yet, but it's been on my to-do list. But I didn't know that they were dropping, like in Grand Prairie too.
Yeah, that's where I'm looking, Grand Prairie. Yeah, the rental prices are dropping, and so many people. It's the bigger pocket effect. Everybody's buying houses. Everybody wants to put their money into something that ain't cash because they're putting trillions of dollars every day. They're gonna every other week. Your cash is turning into trash, literally monopoly money. Might as well put it into an asset that's gonna appreciate, right?
Wow. I did not, man. You really put me on to some game tonight, Steve. I did not know the housing prices. But it goes into what I was saying, man. It's just like, it just doesn't seem like it's enough housing available. And I feel like we're running into that situation. People's got to shack up in apartments, what it seemed like.
Right. And then what's going to happen if these people renting out their houses and dropping the prices? They're going to start getting, God dang it, I need to get someone in there, and they're going to overlook some credit stuff on people's credit reports just to get someone in there, right? And man, they're in for a rude awakening when they start doing that.
See, and what I think we're running into is that this is a perfect time to arbitrage. Perfect time to arbitrage. If you can go in there, you're a liable company, it's a perfect time. And I like how you guys brought up the no debt, a business with no debt. You know what I mean? I was like, that's a good idea. If you're a no debt business, that's.
And that's what because like I said, I used it, for the first few, and getting Sarah to decorate them and stuff. She did a badass job, but I put on 0 interest credit card. I'm like, I just pay it later. So I didn't really care what the budget was. But when we got something, we can see exactly how much cash we got and how much we can spend. And let's not do that. Let's try something else. And how are we going to get into a place and fully furnish it? And we're going to spend less than $5,000. Well, if it's already fully furnished, we spend $0. It just changes your mind how to look for different types of deals, right?
Facts.
And because like I said, with that debt, I was just lazy. I was like, I just put it on the credit card. Yeah, whatever you want to go buy. I don't care if that. Then I got the bill. I was like, God dang, I never even spent that much money on my own my own furniture at home. This is kind of crazy for a one bedroom freaking condo. But
yeah, because the 5 down in Houston, I still owe $16K in total. But it's all business debt though, so it's different if it's on your personal. But if it's all business debt, it's a little bit of a because you got cash flow to cover it. But yeah, that is That is better because like right now, because of these next 8, if I decide to take it on, I would probably do a 0% APR business credit card, and I already have the lady waiting. And relationship building is huge. I would tell people that too, because then you can get like access to capital real quick. But yeah, you're right. You become very, what is the word I'm looking for? Creative when you don't have, and you have to, work things out. It's just like it's the power of broke. Is essentially
power of broke.
It's the power of broke. It's exactly.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, you got to learn you got to figure out a way to do it.
Yep, I like that.
So.
But yeah, I just wanted to throw that housing thing at you to see your mind on it. But I'm definitely about to be looking at some houses now since you said that. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, definitely.
Cool, man. Great episode.
We are out.
Later.
Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.